Hello. Today we will study the determinant, and in this part 1 we will first give the definition of the determinant of a general size matrix, and then we will study a few properties of this determinant. What is a determinant? So the determinant is a function that associates to a matrix A a real number denoted det of A, or you will use vertical bar and inside you will put the entries of the matrix A. Okay, so we are going to give, in the first time, we will give the definition for 1 by 1, then 2 by 2, and then 3 by 3 matrix. Definition. Okay, so in 3 parts, the case of a 1 by 1 matrix first. So what is a 1 by 1 matrix? A 1 by 1 matrix is a matrix with only one row and one column, which means only one entry. So you will write a matrix 1 by 1 like this. Now what will be the determinant function in this case? Well, the determinant of A, we will just take the entry A. So be careful, it can be also denoted like this. But this is not the absolute value, this is just the value A, so it can be negative. Now, case of a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay, so in this case, we want to calculate the determinant of something like that, matrix with 4 entries, A, B, C, D. As you know, we will take as a definition for this AD minus BC. Finally, what do we do in the case of a 3 by 3 matrix? Okay, so here it's a little more difficult to remember. So we have a matrix with entry A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. Okay, so we will take as a definition of this A11 times the determinant of A22, A23, A32, A33 minus A12, and here we will take A21, A23, A31, A33, and finally plus A13, and we will take the 2 by 2 determinant A21, A22, A31, A32. Okay, you don't need to remember for the moment this formula. The point of today's lecture is to give a definition for n times n matrix, a definition of the determinant of such matrix, and we want this definition to coincide with definition in the case 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and 3 by 3. Okay, so we want to find a general formula for this determinant. How do we do that? Well, we will need to introduce a new object. so-called the pattern. So first of all, general case. Okay, we want to find the general case. This time our matrix is a matrix Aij, and it is a n times n matrix. Okay. Now we will need the following object definition. A pattern P of A is the choice of n entries such that each chosen entry is the only one in its row and in its column. Okay, so let's see an example about this. We take the case n equal 3. So the important word defined here is the word pattern. N equals 3. So let's see examples of pattern for a matrix 3 by 3. Okay, so my matrix is A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. Okay, let's pick some entry. I choose in the first row. Okay, I choose in the first row this entry. Now the condition is that this entry should be the only one in its row and in its column, which means that, so remember n equals 3, so I need to pick 3 entries. But for the second one, I cannot choose something here or here, because I will have 2 entries in the same row or same column. Therefore, for the second row, here I had 3 possibilities, but in the second row I have only 2 possibilities. It could be here or here. This will give different patterns. Let's pick this one. Okay, this is a possible choice. Now what happened? I need to choose a third entry. This cannot be here because I would have 2 in this column. This cannot be here because I would have also 2. And the only remaining entry is this one. Okay, so basically for the first row I had 3 possibilities. Second row I had 2 possibilities, and third row I have only 1 possibility. Let's write the other possible pattern. So, okay, I can choose, for example, yes, this one. So I will just indicate the location of the entries. So I just put some dot here. Yeah, this one is also a pattern, as you can see. And another one. I pick here, and then I pick this. And then I pick this one. Yeah, this is a third pattern. Okay, now another one. Here, here, here. This is another pattern. Here, and here, and then here. This is a different pattern. And this one. Yes, this one. Here we go. Yeah, my claim is that there exists only 6 possible patterns. Why? I have in the first row 3 possibilities, 3. In the second I have only 2 possibilities, 3 times 2, 6. And here I don't have choice, so 1 possibility only. 3 times 2 times 1, 6. In general, a n times n maybe we will need some notation. So if P is a pattern, it corresponds to the choice of some entries that we will, n entries, and we will write the pattern like this, B1, Bn. Okay, this is my definition 1. I will also need the following definition. The product of a pattern P, so P, a pattern. So this will be the product of the entries in my pattern P. So the product for I equal 1 to n of the Bi, that amount to just to B1 times B2 3 dot Bn. This I will call the product. The product of the pattern P. All right. I will need a third definition before to give the definition of the determinant. So definition 3. Let P equal B1 Bn be a pattern of A. Then Bi Bj is called an inversion if one of the entry is to the right and above the other. Okay, so here the important word is inversion. Now, let's have a look at the set of all possible patterns here. So we have all these 6 patterns, and let's count the number of inversion for each pattern. Let's take this pattern, the first one. We are looking, so for each pairs of 3 entries, so 2 by 2, we have to consider these 2, then these 2, and then this one with this one. Let's consider first this pair. The question is one of the entry to the right and above? Well, for this pair, it's not true because one is right and below, as you can see. Right and below is not an inversion. So this is not an inversion. Let's have a look at this one. Again, it will be right and below, but not above. So it's not an inversion. And the same thing happened for this entry and this entry. It's again right and below. Here we have 0 inversion. 0 inversion. Now let's have a look here. First 2, right and above. This is one inversion. Here, right and above. This is a second inversion. Now what about this pair? Well, it's right and below, so it's not an inversion. The total number is 2 inversions. 2 inversions. Okay, let's do this one. Right and below, it's not. Right above, this is one. And this is another one, right and above. So we have 2. Okay, here we have right and above. This is 1. Right and above, this is 2. and we have right and above. This is third inversion, so 3 inversions here. 3 inversions. Here, what do we get? So right and below, this is not. Right and above, this is 1. Okay? And right and below, this is not. So here we have only one inversion. Finally, on this one, right and above, this is 1, and there is no other. This is right and below, and this is right and below. Okay, so only one inversion. Right. So as you can see, for each pattern, we can calculate the number of inversions. Finally, I can obtain my general definition of the determinant of an n by n matrix, and this will be the following. So let A be a n times n matrix. Then we set determinant of A equal, this will be the sum over all patterns P. Okay, you do the summation over all possible patterns, and you will take the product of P times the sign of P. Okay, so I need to define what is the sign. Where sign of P will be, by definition, -1 to the number of inversions. Namely, so as you can see, if the number of inversion is even number, we will get -1 to some even number, so it will be +1. If this number of inversion is odd, something like 1 or 3, for example, this will be -1 to the 1, so it will be -1. So the value, this value is always plus or -1. Okay. Now a very good exercise. Prove that this definition of a determinant coincides with the definition of a determinant we gave earlier in the case of a 1 times 1, 2 by 2, and 3 by 3 matrix. Yeah, so please do this exercise. As a hint, I'm going to explain you the case n equal 1. Solution in the case n equal 1. Okay. So remember, in this case, the matrix is just one real number between round brackets. And my first definition of A, of the determinant of this matrix, was A. Okay? Now, this is the first calculation. But using this formula here, I get another possible definition. I'm going to check that both definitions coincide. Okay, I need to do the summation over all possible patterns of this matrix of the product of P times the sign of P. So, first of all, I need to know how many patterns do I have. Well, it's very easy. I have only one entry, and therefore I can have only one pattern. And this pattern, so the only possible pattern is actually this one. This is my pattern. Now I need to calculate the product. So what is the product? The product of my pattern will be the product of all possible entries in this pattern, so it will be just A. Now what is the number, the sign of this pattern? It will be -1 to the number of inversion. So how many inversion do I have in a pattern with only one entry? Well, because you have only one entry, you cannot have one of the entry right and above the other entry. So the number of pattern here can only be 0. And so you get -1 to the power 0 equal 1. As a conclusion, what is the determinant of this matrix A? It will be, so there is only one pattern, so you can forget this summation symbol. It will be just the product times the sign. So it will be 1 times A times 1. So you get A times 1. Okay? So as you can see, in the case of 1 by 1 matrix, the initial definition coincides with this definition. The exercise I give you is to check this formula in the case of 2 by 2 and then 3 by 3 matrices. Okay, now we have our definition. We are going to study the properties of the determinant, some of the properties. So the first property we are going to study, let's put it in the form of a theorem. Theorem is as follows. So we consider A be a n times n matrix, which is upper or lower triangular. In this case, the determinant of the matrix A, so let's call the entries the Aij, then this determinant will be just a product of the entries on the diagonal, Aii. So I is 1 to n. This symbol product means that you just do A11 times A22 times ANN. So as you can see, if the determinant, if the matrix is upper or lower triangular, then it's very easy to calculate the determinant. You just take the product of the diagonal entries. Now, what is the proof of this property? Well, it all amounts to show that if you have an n times n matrix, you will have always this. So you take the pattern with only entries on the diagonal. So this is always a pattern with, in fact, 0 inversion. If you take 2 entries, one will be always right and below, but never right and above. So all these pairs of entries will never give an inversion. So this pattern has 0 inversion. which means that we have a product of, so let's call this pattern P. So product of P times the sign of P will be basically A1, 1, A and N times minus 1 to the power 0. Okay? So for this pattern only, you get this term. And now you need to conclude, if you take any other pattern, so all other patterns, let's call any other patterns P prime, have necessarily one entry equal to 0. This is because of our hypothesis that the matrix is upper or lower triangular. So except this pattern, you will have necessarily one other entry equal to 0. And therefore, it will not contribute to the determinant, because as you know, the determinant is the product times the sign, or the sum of all these terms. But for these patterns P prime, the product will be always 0. It will be always 0, so it won't contribute to the calculation of the determinant. And that's why you get this nice result. Okay, so this is the first property. We can calculate easily the determinant for n equal 1, 2, 3, and we can also calculate it very easily if we have an upper or lower triangular matrix. Now we can extend this result to the following. Let's call it property theorem 2. Let M be a matrix of the type A, B, C, 0, or A, 0, B, and C, with A and C square matrices of possibly different sizes. Okay, they don't need to have same size, but they need to be square. B, any matrix, so not necessarily square, it can be a rectangle matrix, and 0 is any matrix whose entries are zeros. Okay, so if your matrix is of this type, which is called matrix by block, then the determinant of your matrix M will be the determinant of A times the determinant of C. Okay, so this is a kind of generalization of the previous concept, but be careful. If M can be written as A, B, C, D, but not necessarily with a 0 and with square matrices, then it does not imply that the determinant of M will be determinant of A times determinant of D minus that of A, B times determinant of C. Yeah, this won't be true. This is not true, okay? So you cannot copy the formula for n equal 2 by making block. This can only be done if you have a 0 block and square matrices here and here, okay? Good. Now, what is the explanation for such property? We'll give just a sketch of proof. Okay, so first of all, if you write the right, so we want to prove this formula, right? So if you look at the right hand side of this formula, you get det of A times det of C. So this will be, as you know, the summation, so by definition of the determinant, the summation of patterns PA sine PA times product of PA. So PA are all possible patterns of your matrix A. And then you will do the sum over patterns of the matrix C of the sign of this pattern PC times the product of this pattern PC. And so you can write this as the sum over all possible pairs PA-PC of the sign of PA. Let's put the sign together, sign PC, and then we have product PA, product PC. Okay, now the question is why this should be equal to the product over all possible patterns of M of sign of PM times product of PM. So the big question is this equality, right? If this equality was true, then the proposition would be true. And this, so the key point of this, the key point is that all patterns of M such that the product of PM is non-zero can be obtained as the concatenation of a unique pair. So PA PC such that we will have two conditions. The product of this PM will be product of PA times product of PC, and the sign of PM will be the sign of PA times the sign of PC. Now let me give you one example. Okay, so let's take 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, then we will do some 0 here, and then we will do 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, and here we will have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I said that this matrix is by block, is defined by block. Okay, so why is it so? Well, this is, okay, altogether I call it M, right? But here inside you have one block, which is a square matrix, I call A. Here you have a matrix of different size, but it is still a square matrix, I call it C. Now here you have a matrix, a block. It's not square, but it is full of zeros, so I call it 0 bar. And here you have a matrix, which is not square, but this is any matrix, I call it B. So this is an example of a matrix by block. Now, let's see. If I choose let's pick a pattern of A. So for example, this one, I pick this pattern, and then let's pick another pattern in this matrix. So we can choose this one. Okay, as you can see, you can build from these two patterns by concatenation a new pattern. So the pattern of M will be, you will have this entries, and then you will have two, this and this. Yeah. This is a pattern also, but this time a pattern of M. As you can see, the condition on pattern is still satisfied, which means that this is the only entry in this column and in this row. This is the only entry in this column and in this row, etc. This is only entries in this column and in this row. So, by taking one pattern of A and one pattern of C, you can build this pattern of M. And you can check that indeed the product of this pattern is just the product of the pattern A and C, and the sign is also the product of the sign. So you please check it out, and you will see that this works perfectly well. Okay, so I just want to give you a sketch of proof, an intuition of why this is actually working. I finish by a third property of determinant. Okay, so a third property that we call theorem 3 is the following. The determinant of a matrix is always equal to the determinant of the transpose matrix. So you remember, if we have a matrix, we can calculate its transpose by exchanging the rows become the columns and the columns become the rows. Well, the result is that the determinant will be the same. And an explanation for that is the following. You can check that P, let's take PA, pattern of A. Then, if you take such pattern, it is equivalent to show that PA transpose the pattern of A transpose obtained by taking the same entries. So you take the same entries, of course, because you transpose, the position of these entries will be different. But the key point is that this will be a pattern. And moreover, this pattern is such that the sign of PA will be equal to the sign of PA transpose, and the product of PA will be also the product of PA transpose. So basically, this theorem results from this simple fact that if you take a pattern, you can associate to it another pattern of the transpose by taking the same entries. Okay, the position is different, but the sign will be the same and the product, of course, will be the same. Okay, then I think I will stop here. You have a big exercise to solve, and you will have also a quiz. Thank you very much.